let's see. Looks like we are going. Let me get the chat pulled up on another device. And we will get started here. Yeah, I am live. That is right. And we will get started here. All right. Chat's pulled up, so if you got any questions or anything, I'll answer them. Try to answer them when I'm done. All right, so non-farm payroll report came out on Friday, and as you scroll through it, you're like, "Hey, this is actually a pretty accurate report," because the last four or five have just been there's things been missing out of it, and you're like, there's I can't really put my finger on it, but something's not right about this. They've left out numbers. Uh, they like last month they didn't even finish the report, and then 4 hours later they came out with the rest of it. So a couple things I found on here that were interesting to me, that I've been kind of keeping my eyes open for. One of them is down here in transportation and warehouse, minus 8,000. So 11,000 jobs in truck transportation was partially offset by a gain of 3,000 jobs in air transportation. So 11,000 jobs lost in truck transportation is not a good sign that the economy is going in the right direction. The other thing that they threw in here was that retail was unchanged. But I'm going to show you something where maybe it is changed. So anyway, let's go into this. This is the employment by sector, not seasonally adjusted. We want to look at the not seasonally adjusted. Seasonally adjusted it's one way that they use to kind of fudge the numbers a little bit. Where the not seasonally adjusted and seasonally adjusted, where they really matter is in things like hospitality, restaurant, and retail. Because a lot of those jobs in the summertime are part-time. They're held by college students. So this in the September numbers, you'll see a big drop-off. And typically the reason for that is a lot of those people have gone back to school, whether it be high school, college, whatever. Or in some cases, teachers going back to work, because there are some teachers out there that hold down part-time jobs only in the summertime, only in the off times of the year. But if we look at each one of these, so let's keep in mind the August is the third column, September is the fourth column, and as we scroll down and take a look at these, mining and logging lost, and of course keep in mind these are thousands. So mining and logging actually lost 1,000 jobs. Seasonally adjusted is 3,000. We're going to focus on the raw numbers, not the seasonally adjusted. This is real people here. This is an equation. So mining and logging, 1,000 people, 1,000 fewer people there. Construction, big drop there. But according to seasonally adjusted, it's fall. There's less construction going on. Sure, but we're talking real numbers, real people. And was that 33,000 people have lost their jobs in construction? Look at residential. Non-residential didn't lose that much, but residential lost quite a bit. Manufacturing, we actually are losing jobs there as well. Some of this also may be due to college kids and high school kids college kids especially. There are some part-time or people were working full-time during the summer, and then they just left manufacturing. Durable goods has, remember, third, fourth column, we've had a loss. This is real people, not in those industries anymore. Electronic instruments down 2,000. Semiconductors down 3,000. I mean, you can just go through this. Now, where this is at is if you go back here to this, they put all of these tables down at the bottom of this report. They don't do this every month. Usually you get to about here, the report stops. So this time they actually completed it. It usually quarterly they will have this. Sometimes they'll have it at the end of the month, but it's very hit or miss as to when those tables are down there. I don't know why, just is. We get down here to non-durable goods. I want you guys to look at food manufacturing right here. 4,000 fewer people in food manufacturing. Now, part of that, I mean, some of this is just demand, right? I mean, everything costs more, so there's less demand. Retail, we're not even really digging into retail right now because a lot of retail is lost at the end of the summer, especially in some of these areas down here, food and beverage stores, furniture, electronics, especially electronics. But if we look at automobile dealers have lost jobs. Motor vehicle parts dealers have lost jobs. But yet they keep saying that, oh, yeah, no problem. The jobs numbers are good. If you go to the U6 report, we've actually got over 6% unemployment. It's not the 3.5% that they're telling you. Sporting goods, hobby, hook, and music stores. Lot of high school and college kids work at these places. So losing 9,000 jobs there, that's not really a big deal. This is one of those areas where you want to refer to the seasonally adjusted. But and again, a lot of these people, they go back to school. Transportation and warehousing. This is interesting. Air transportation is flat. Rail transportation is flat. Water transportation, fewer people. But truck transportation, 16. So they said 11,000 seasonally adjusted. But look, this is real people here. This is 21,000 people that are not trucking. Real people. Not the seasonally adjusted number. Real people right there. Transit and ground transportation. We saw a big increase there. Utilities. I mean, some of that stuff's getting more automated, so you're going to see fewer and fewer people there. Information, so IT. This is also an important one here. Financial activities. As you're looking down this one, especially central bank, but especially commercial banking. Commercial banking is that's business banking. And let me check this out, folks. 1.347 million to 1.339 in commercial banking. Securities investments. 13,000 people. No longer employed in securities, commodities, investments. A lot of these people have been let go or they've just left and not replaced. Real estate, here we go, folks, 2397, 2379. Drop in actual numbers of people. And of course, they're, the seasonally adjusted is going to be higher, but really, like, the key areas here are just real people are leaving. I mean, you can sell houses year round, most of the country. There kind of really is no drop off in the wintertime anymore like there used to be. I think some of that's because of a lot of places just aren't getting the amount of snow that they used to. Down here in professional and business services, increases in accounting, decreases in legal services, and hospitals actually had an increase in employment. Pretty decent sized increase in employment, especially in nursing care facilities. Community care facilities for the elderly went down, but nursing care facilities went up. That makes sense because we have an aging population. So, of course, that's an area that we're going to see more and more people flocking to because it's an area that more and more people need. Leisure and hospitality. So this is the one where everybody's like, hey, check this out. Like, everybody's traveling. Amusements, gambling, and recreation went from remember, third and fourth columns here. This is August. This is September, 1880 to 1681. That's 200,000 people that have left. Now, some of that is obviously because of the summer months ending. So if you, according to this, the seasonally adjusted numbers, we saw an increase. But if we just look at real people, 200,000 people, how many of those went back to school? Probably 70% of those. So accommodations, which would, of course, be hotels, again, drops end of summer. So that's seasonally adjusted, but we're talking real people. So look, there's all kinds of cracks in the foundation, and some of these aren't as big a cracks as maybe I'm making them sound. I'm just trying to show like raw numbers here. But this is where it gets kind of interesting. And this is the persons not in the labor force and multiple job hoarders. Job hoarders? We're going to become job hoarders pretty soon. Job holders. All right, so we want to look at multiple. We don't want to focus not in the labor force. That's not really a point of emphasis for me. I'm looking at multiple job holders. So we have had actually 700,000 people become, more people than last year become multiple job holders. Now, the two that I want to focus on are this first one, primary job full-time, secondary job part-time. Now, just because someone's working a full-time job and a part-time job doesn't mean that they're hurting for money. There's a lot of people out there that they don't know what to do with their time, and maybe they spend too much money if they have too much free time. So they're like, maybe I could go get a part-time job and at least have a little extra, save a little extra. So those people get it, second jobs, not necessarily out of necessity, just because they like to be active. But we had a 400,000 person increase getting second part-time jobs. I can pretty much guarantee that a vast number of those over the last year are not because I don't know what to do with my time. Let's just go ahead and get a second job. I want to eat some food at Freddy's. I want to get a free meal or half price or whatever. Or, I want to get discounts on stuff I'm working on a car or whatever. That's not that. Like 400,000 people have gotten secondary part-time jobs. A vast number of those are definitely out of necessity. We've been living paycheck to paycheck for a long time across the country, depending on what survey you look at, where people are living paycheck to paycheck. It's either somewhere between 60 and 80%, depending on the survey. The entire time that I've been in financial services, it hovers around 78%, 76, 78. Kiplinger's survey is usually the most accurate survey out of all of those. So yeah, but the one that really kind of caught my eye is the third one down. This primary and secondary jobs are both full-time. So that's a minimum of 64 hours a week. We have 68,000 people more this year than last year working 2 full-time jobs. That is not because, I just need something to do. No, this is out of necessity. This is because they can't afford food. They can't afford fuel. 68,000 people. Now, in a nation of 330 million, that doesn't seem like a lot. But honestly, to have 420,000 people needing to work 2 full-time jobs, that is, we shouldn't even have a number that high. And last year it was 352,000. Again, in this country, we should not have a number that high of people working 2 full-time jobs. Primary and secondary jobs, both part-time. There's so many variables with that one. I kind of discount it because, it could be that that's somebody who's trying to find full-time work and they can't, so they got to work 2 part-time jobs. You don't really know what the scenario with that one is. And again, we have 300,000 more, almost 235,000 more people working 2 part-time jobs than we did a year ago. So anyway, there are definitely cracks in the jobs report. We're not in a good place, folks. Like, it's just not. And I don't mean to scare anybody, but I mean, when the media comes out and goes, hey, yeah, the jobs increased by 235,000 people. There's 235,000 more people on roll. This is a problem when you do it live. Your thoughts are disorganized. 235,000 more people on payrolls than there were last month. Is it? I don't get too deep in the weeds, but some of these numbers here are definitely contributing to that. People holding 2 full-time jobs. Now, 68,000 over the course of a year. I didn't see any links to look at this last month. There could have only been like 4,000 people last month from the change from last month to this month, or it could be nominal. Yeah, that's the jobs report in a nutshell. And again, if you wanted to go take a look at some other stuff on here, there's all kinds of tables that you can take a look at. Some of these are not as important to me because, again, like as someone who's in the industry, a licensed professional, I am more focused on certain indicators than others. So I'm more focused on who's got 2 full-time jobs, how many full-time and part-time jobs are there, where are we at on that, and the actual numbers by industry of who is, of where the jobs are increasing and where they're decreasing. Huge things to know for me as a licensed professional. So anyway, that is the jobs report in a nutshell. Maybe next month will look a little bit better. I doubt it because we're moving more into winter, so we have to discount some of those numbers. That's why they do the seasonally adjusted, but I like looking at raw numbers and kind of how they come out. And it's like, look, some of these people in these industries are not working in these industries anymore. They're having to find other jobs, or maybe they've been cut down to part-time or what have you. But yeah, so I don't necessarily take what the media tells you at face value. I know if you're listening to me, you probably don't. But hey, look, 263,000 in September. Whoop, whoop. The unemployment rate edged down. Well, if you look at the U6 number, we'll look at that real quick before I get off here. I never get the government's report on this one. We'll go to the Y charts. I'm not a huge fan of this, but this is accurate. 6.4%. So yes, real unemployment has been going down almost every month. It varies a little bit, but we're down to 6.4. We're kind of getting to that point where we have maximum employment. And if you go back and look at February and March, February right before COVID hit, 7.4. So we actually have more people working now than we did at the end of February in 2020. So don't let the unemployment number fool you. That number is fudged. The U6 is the real unemployment number. So anyway, that's all I got today. If you have any questions about anything, if you're in industries that are laying people off, comment below and tell us what's going on in your industry. So anyway, with that, I'm going to log out of here, man. We're going to end this, and Frazzled Dad out.